Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is February 21st, 2026, and Lamine Yamal is the most influential player in Europe. We're going to talk about the stat that proves that. Also, reports stating that Matteo Alemany tried to trade Gavi to PSG in exchange for Fabian Ruiz. And finally, Barcelona are currently tracking Rayo Vallecano's center back. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Bo. We'll begin this video with a stat, an interesting stat that shows that Lamine Yamal, at only 18 years old, is the most influential player in all of Europe. Now, what's the stat that you were asked that I'm telling you about? Well, the stat is that Lamine Yamal averages 100.52 actions per 90 minutes. 100.52, let's just say 100, or we can round it up to 101, but let's keep it at 100. Lamine Yamal averages 100 actions per 90 minutes, an incredibly high number. Now, if you're wondering what's actions, well, passes, dribbles, goals, assists, right? Those are actions, and Lamine Yamal averages 100 actions per 90 minutes. Now, to put in this into context, in second place with most actions per 90 minutes in all of Europe is Bayern Munich's Michael Olise with 91.53 actions every 90 minutes. And in third place is PSG's Kvaratskhelia with 88.43 actions every 90 minutes. Now, to keep putting this into context, Harry Kane, who's been kind of like the huge revelation of this season. Well, not revelation because we all know about Kane, but, Kane is doing absolutely amazing. Everybody can't stop talking about how amazing he is doing at Bayern Munich. He averages about 49 actions per 90 minutes, which is half of what Lamine Yamal averages at only 18 years old, which goes to show that Lamine Yamal at 18 is no longer a prospect, but in fact, a world-class star. Now, when it comes to goal contributions, Lamine Yamal is not the highest player in Europe, but nonetheless, he still has an impressive statistic, which shows that he averages about 0.90 goal contributions every 90 minutes. So almost one goal or one assist per match for Lamine Yamal, who trails the likes of Luis Diaz, Kylian Mbappe, Harry Kane, and Erling Haaland, players who are in their prime, players who, well, Luis Diaz maybe is not in his prime, but the other ones are players who are well-established, players who have been playing for many, many, many years, and yet Lamine Yamal trails them only by a little bit. Now, when you narrow it down to players under 23, Lamine Yamal is the leader in both actions and goal contributions. If you consider all ages, Lamine Yamal is the leader in most actions, but not in goal contributions. If you're limited to under 23, he's the leader in actions and goal contributions. Amazing numbers for an 18-year-old kid who has yet to reach his prime and is very, very far away from reaching his prime. Again, all we've seen so far is the tip of the iceberg. Lamine is only going to keep getting better as he grows and develops and nears his prime years, which, remember, it's not until 25, 26. So we have not even seen anything close to what's going to be the best version of Lamine Yamal. Anyways, let's move on to the next bit of news, because today Sport wrote an article which made headlines everywhere, catching on fire on social media and being shared by millions. And that article stated that back in 2023, the sporting director then, Matteo Alemany, was working on trading Gavi to PSG in exchange for Fabian Ruiz. And that's why John Laporta got rid of Matteo Alemany, brought in Deco, and Deco was able to convince Gavi to stay and completely blocked the swap that would have seen Gavi join PSG in exchange for Fabian Ruiz. Well, lo and behold, after this article was shared all over the world, this happened. If you are to go to Sport and try to click on that article, this comes up. It says page not found in Spanish, and that's because Sport had to delete that article. Why? Because, well, it's full of shit. There's absolutely no truth to the story that Alemany tried to trade Gavi to PSG in exchange for Fabian Ruiz, and that Deco convinced Gavi to stay. There's simply absolutely zero truth to that story, and that's why Sport had to delete that article. So please, if you came across that article, just know that it's absolute nonsense. That did not happen, and that's it. That's all you need to know. Anyways, let's move on to that next bit of news because, ladies and gentlemen, Barcelona are reportedly tracking Rayo Vallecano center back, who you might have seen in action this last match that we played against them. And it's no other than Nobel Mendy. Now, if you haven't heard of Nobel Mendy, he's a 21-year-old Senegalese defender. He's a center back who could also play as a left back. Again, currently playing with Rayo Vallecano, has a contract that expires in 2026 and has a market value of 6 million euros. Now, it's reported that Barcelona are currently tracking the player to see how he fares in La Liga. Now, let me make something very clear, because tracking doesn't mean that Barcelona are trying to sign or interested in sign or are going to sign. This is simply saying, hey, this guy has caught our attention. Let's watch him. Let's see how he does every single match. Again, different opponents in different competitions. And in this case, is not, because obviously Rayo Vallecano are only playing in La Liga. So this is kind of to see, hey, he's caught our attention. Let's see how good he truly is by watching him over a long period of time. And if he continues to convince us, then we can try to make a move for him. And if not, this could end up being, okay, yeah, he kind of caught our attention, but now we've watched him long enough and apparently he sucks. So that's what tracking means. Barcelona are currently watching him. They're tracking him. They're seeing how he does to see if he could maybe be a possible reinforcement for that left back / center back position on the left side. Since we do need a left-footed center back, and well, since we do need someone to compete with Alejandro Balde. Now, again, Nobel Mendy, 6 million euro market value. So if Barcelona were to sign him, it wouldn't cost much. But either way, his contract does expire in 2026. So even if Barcelona decide to sign him, they wouldn't even have to pay those 6 million, because he would be a free agent, assuming, of course, he doesn't renew with Rayo Vallecano. Anyway, speaking of left back, let's talk about Alejandro Balde, because as I told you a few days ago during a video, Manchester United are very interested in signing Alejandro Balde, but now a new club has joined the race, and that is Inter Milan, who are also interested in signing Alejandro Balde come this summer transfer market. Now, the same way I told you when I was talking about Manchester United, I'll tell you the same here since we're talking about Inter Milan. And that is that Barcelona have no intention of selling Alejandro Balde. They just recently renewed his contract until 2028. He has a 1 billion euro release clause. And of course, Hansi Flick completely trusts the 22-year-old left back. And as I said before, when I mentioned Manchester United news, I honestly would not sell him. Sure, Alejandro Balde is going through a very bad, rough patch this season. He's not performing as good as before. But nonetheless, we all have seen what this guy is capable of. We all have seen his potential, his speed, his space, his ability to cover that entire left flank. His offensive output is, well, unmatched. And I think it would be an absolute mistake for Barcelona to offload him. Not to mention, again, there is no plans to offload him. But just know that both Man U and Inter Milan, both interested in signing our player. Looks like, well, some people in Europe do appreciate what Balde does, unlike many of our fans. Now, let's end today's video with the news, something I had already told you about before, and it's regarding Eta Young, the Levante center forward that Barcelona had briefly considered signing in the place of Lewandowski. I told you that Barcelona had kind of ruled him out, and well, now more confirmations have emerged that Barcelona have indeed completely ruled out Eta Young, despite tracking him for quite some time, and consider signing him because Eta, well, he has, on one side, of course, Barcelona are looking more for an established center forward, someone in his prime, someone that can hit the ground running and be a difference maker on day one. That's not Eta Young. Eta Young, still has to grow and develop. And well, now the second reason now, it's because Eta Young's performance has completely taken a nosedive, where he has yet to score a single goal or provide a single assist since October. That's a long time for someone not to score or assist, especially if, you want him to play at Barcelona. And as such, Eta Young has gone from a player who a lot of clubs around Europe, including the Premier League, wanted him to all of a sudden nobody does. Now, there was a lot of offers for Eta Young in the summer and this winter transfer market, but Levante said no because they wanted to hold on to him, hoping that they could sell him maybe for triple next summer. But now it looks like they might not be able to offload him at all, because all the interest has completely died out for Eta, including from Barcelona. Anyways, I don't think this is a loss or anything. I always said that it would be a mistake, not because I have anything against Eta Young, is because it's FC Barcelona, and if we want to aspire to win everything, we cannot be bringing young, promising center forwards. So we need someone established, someone that can hit the ground running. And if we want to sign someone promising, we can also do that, right? But you can't have someone promising be your starting center forward. You need someone established to be your starting center forward. And then if you want to bring someone promising to grow while you have someone who can start, that's a whole nother story. But anyways, that is all for this video. I did go live a few moments ago. If you haven't seen that yet, make sure to check it out. I'm going live again in a few more moments because there is more news to share with you. So stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, Bis Barça.